Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm MysteriousJG. Got a good night's sleep, and we're right back at it here, getting a dangerous amount of stuff recorded in advance. Who knows how many accents I'll misidentify before you guys have the chance to correct me. I've lost my connection. Oh, god damn it! So before starting my recording, I logged in, I got a new set of strike team missions going and collected our strike team rewards. We failed a strike team mission, which meant we got a small experience boost. We did not get a negative trait. That is apparently a thing. If you are doing strike team missions and you fail, your strike teams can get a negative trait instead of a positive trait, like minus 10% effectiveness or whatever. So we got strike team Mike failed a mission. Way to go, Mike. You know who you are. And strike team Mike failed, and they went into their mission failures styles. Sorry. Strike team Mike failed, and they didn't get a negative trait, so it was like no long-term harm, just kind of not a great reward. But we did get like some moderately not super rare small machine gun or something out of it. I don't even really remember. We got a very rinky-dink amounts of research coming in that way, but it's better than nothing. So I went ahead and got a new set of missions going, but apparently, okay, so it's still going. I got like an hour 30 left for Mike's new mission. Foxtrot, which is like our super elite team, did succeed in their mission. So they have like a coin flip chance at a silver mission, so I'm letting them try that because we ran out of bronze missions to do, and that's a thing. So I guess every so often more missions become available, but I'm a little worried that if they lose this mission they'll get a negative trait, but I don't know how many traits you get. I think if you get enough positive traits there's no room left for negative traits to spawn, and it's all good. The worst thing that can possibly happen with your strike team is that they get negative traits and aren't that useful to you, and you dismiss them and you wasted mission funds recruiting them. But the point of all this... Oh, actually, let me get back in here. The point of all this is to get Pathfinder rewards, which I guess I don't have any in the queue because I claimed them. I went ahead and leveled up our party members off screen. We actually have more points put into combat now than we have put into tech, which is not really something that I'd planned to have happen, but I've been really trying to work on getting our sniper rifles and combat fitness as good as possible. And we'll probably eventually also fill up pistols. We have access to all the combat skills now, but unless I decide I really don't feel like developing Overload, which is our starting skill, and just ignore it outright, and decide I want to get Concussive Shot instead, we're probably not going to do anything with combat except try to level up our primary weapon, our secondary weapon, and combat fitness. So while right now we have an unusual combat balance, that will eventually shift the other way. That's biotics. I meant to go into tech. Now we could load up Overload because it's a pretty powerful skill. The thing about tech is that it has individually neat skills that do not require, as most of the combat skills require you to use a power cell. So power cells are like generically a small quantity ammo thing associated mostly with combat skill stuff. Trip mines use power cells. Concussive shots do not use power cells. Omni grenades do. Barricades do. Flak cannons do. So it's just a generic ammo that is, you have few of them at a time than regular ammo. Even though there's no particular... Trip mine and Omni grenade using the same type of ammo potentially makes sense in my mind. Barricade, not as much. It's just a gameplay mechanic that they didn't really work that hard to come up with a reason why it works the way it does. Tech, mostly things that do not require... Yeah, you've got lots of things that you can use as much as you want. Do not require that ammo. They do have charge. And then biotics are much the same. You can use them as much as you want. They have charge time. So the problem with maxing out your tech is that you've got all these different skills, but you can only have 3 in your loadout at a time. Maybe eventually if you go through offensive tech, one of the things you unlock is additional you can have more things than just 3 in your loadout, but I don't think so because they took away the power wheel, so it's down to button inputs. They really are trying hard to make this more multiplayer-y. They did a little bit of multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 I never played, but they're trying to evolve the series in a more multiplayer-friendly direction, and the power wheel doesn't work in multiplayer because it gives the single-player player the ability to pause the game indefinitely while they ponder a huge power wheel full of skills. I can only assume that's why they took it away. I'm saying this it's stream of consciousness. If this is occurring to me, I'm thinking about it now. I'm sure that 100 people have already put videos bitching about this on YouTube. I have not watched them. So this is just kind of, it's occurring to me now. Oh, that's why I have to choose between 3 skills. That's why I've got like 8 skills in front of me and I can't think of any reason to put points into these skills. Cryo-beam might be fun. I mean, I clearly wanted assault turret. It's not being that much fun now, but it suits my playstyle of just like you sneak around, like you put that assault turret there, you try to get enemies to focus on it, and you try to pick them off. But, and tactical cloak. So those would be good things to max out. But if I want an additional skill, the fact that there's 1 point in Overload already is a bit silly a reason to stick with Overload, so I might want to pick something more fun, but Overload is a good skill. Incinerate is a good one. Does bonus damage to armor. Energy drain. I guess this would be, yeah, we have synthetic enemies, so that'll work good on them. But anyway, team support is a really good one to max out for this group. Offensive tech will be good, especially once I pick a 3rd skill that I'm really going to focus on, since I'm not doing that much with Overload. Auxiliary auxiliary systems. Yeah, I mean, all my passives I want to max out with this class. And I'm kind of waiting to find out what this skill is before I put too much effort into... this might be AI hacking, actually. That kind of makes sense. It might be that you can hack... Because the only artificial stuff I'm envisioning us coming across in large numbers, since we haven't seen the cat using anything artificial, is that we'll probably run into... we might be able to start hacking remnant enemies. So maybe AI hacking eventually pops up. Anyway. Did I start any research projects? I don't feel like I started any research projects off camera. So we could probably just get on with a video or so. Not that it's the most exciting thing in the world, but I fell into the pattern. If you must blame anyone, blame all dragons. Certainly don't blame me. Blame yourselves or God. But no, I fell into the pattern of actually reading the Codex aloud, which I never did in the original Mass Effects. But part of that was because in all the original Mass Effect games, I had played them through once before Let's Playing them. Where now this is all new to me. So I kind of feel like reading it, and I'm like, I might as well put it on video, because if you don't feel like sitting through the videos where I'm reading the Codex, you don't have to. You can skip them. And you don't even have to write nasty comments about how horrible it is. You can just skip them and get to the next video where I'm doing stuff that you will find entertaining. I think that's the best of both worlds. Anyway, I'm going to go through some Codex stuff in this video, possibly the next one, depending on how long this takes. And that's also nice because it's a way that I can record a bunch of material without getting so far ahead in my live recording of what's been seen that I'm just misidentifying people's accents. So finding a home. The Helios cluster is nothing like the initiative expected. The Pathfinder faces terrible dangers and unimaginable wonders in the search for a safe place to call home. During the trial by fire in Habitat 7, expressed doubts about accepting the role of Pathfinder, rescued Greer. I guess these are things that they're listing decision points you made that impact the story, possibly. So I tried to initiate peaceful first contact. I explored an alien laboratory. I found a cave full of plant life. I discovered an alien shuttlecraft of unknown origin. I rescued Greer from his captors, and I expressed doubts about accepting the role of Pathfinder. And EOS. I explored and reactivated a mysterious alien vault apparently designed for terraforming, bringing home a new life. Blah, 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 blah. Despite the potential threat, you guided the outpost on an EOS on a mission of peaceful scientific exploration. Now, it looks like Crisis on Habitat 7 gives you an unusually high number of chances to make a difference to the story. A crew like no other, including this person who I'm now claiming is from South Africa. I don't fucking care anymore. She's Afrikaner, guys. We were all wrong with the accent. Only the best and most experienced crew. Only the best and most experienced crew can hope to succeed on the Pathfinder's mission. These allies and companions ensure survival for thousands of settlers. That's me doing a shitty Irish accent. I don't really do a Scottish accent because it just bleeds into my shitty Irish accent. Nakmor Drak. After earning Nakmor Drak's respect on Eos, he agreed to join your quest, or squad, whatever that word is. The Tempest is a little cozy for a Krogan, but the old-timer's made himself comfortable. When not regaling the crew with stories, he hangs out in the gallery, tinkering with his guns. We know what that means. I guess I need to withhold judgment. I'm coming to a snap judgment on Nakmor Drak, but it seems like they have not earned the idea that he's this grizzled war veteran full of stories. Like, we have text telling us he's full of stories. We have one or two pieces of dialogue about what a grizzled veteran he is. I'm not seeing it. I'm being told. It's annoying me. Moving on. Cora Harper. You've socialized a little with Cora, learning more about her background as a biotic and a Asari commando. Well, she's basically, as the human female who does not appear to be lesbian, and I'm playing as a heterosexual male Scott Ryder, I'm figuring, like, yeah, she makes sense as the person for him to be romancing, because I'm thinking he's probably not going to get a huge number of female human love interest potentials. Callow Jath. You and Callow sometimes chat in your free time. Callow will take any excuse to talk about the Tempest. I'm only assuming that these things, descriptions flesh out a bit as you interact with them more. Liam Costa. First impressions of Liam. He's a real booster for the initiative and always gives his all for the mission. I should probably take him out on a mission again sometime. Lexi Tapero. See, I just want to call her Patero for some reason. She's Kataro. Despite her years of experience, Lexi feels a little daunted by working in the field. However, she's excited about the prospect of researching a cat. PB Basale. I thought PB was short for, like, her full name, and we were going to find out what that was later. PB mostly keeps out of its way. She's guarded about herself, and you're respecting her space. I haven't actually had a chance to talk to any of these people yet. Vetra Nix. Vetra likes to describe herself as someone who gets things done. She seems very committed to your mission and the Pathfinder team's success. The fact that she brought her sister, Sid, with her to Andromeda might have something to do with her dedication. Gil Brody. You've left Gil to his job taking care of the Tempest systems, which seems to keep him busy. Sufi Anwar. Sufi Anwar is the Tempest resident science officer. She works closely with the research team on the Nexus, analyzing the data you and Sam collect in the field. And she's made it pretty clear that she's not interested in you. Ryder. So, ongoing psychological profile. Wait, we get to read the AI's... Oh, this is from Lexi. Apparently we broken in. From the files of Tempest physician and psychologist, Dr. Lexi Tapero. Ryder, as part of my mission assignment on the Tempest, I'm required to send psychological assessments to Pathfinder's Q. I'm sending you my notes. After all, you should know what I'm telling them. Really? Well, I know you for short time, so this is just my initial take. Enjoy. It displays analytical thinking and intellectual curiosity, maintains poise and discipline even under intense pressure. Impulsive actions often speak louder than words. That seems pretty contradictory, but poise and discipline, impulsive actions, you're required to update them. I guess this is where the different, like, picture of a heart in your head, picture of a squirrel in your head, picture of a squarish squirrel in your head, or whatever the other symbol is, dialogue choices influence this. Ties that bind. You still mourn the loss of your father, Alec, a man you loved and respected. You hope you have made him proud as Pathfinder. You started the search for answers for the mystery about why your father made you Pathfinder. The Andromeda Initiative. What's new? Known associates. Oh. So we have, like, really long things about them here and little short things about them elsewhere. Callow Jath was born on Circassian, quoting directly, into a life so boring even you couldn't calculate it. Push towards a lucrative... What does it mean even I couldn't calculate it? Are they talking about me, MysteriousJG? Are they talking about our player character? Push towards a lucrative but dull bureaucratic career with Paroha Aerospace, Callow became more interested in flying the starships he was meant to be cataloging. He eventually left Circash for formal pilot training and joined Perot's competitor as a test pilot. Internal emails show that when the Andromeda Initiative was building teams to develop their survey vessels, Parohe Aerospace warned against recruiting Callow so fervently that Jan Garson's interests piqued. Callow claims the prospect of the initiative. Well, that's the thing. Is if a former employer tells you somebody's awful, that really makes you interested. I'm making a face. The prospect of the initiative is intriguing enough to make him join the Tempest design team, test flying her early prototypes, running stress tests in regions like the Nemean Abyss, and rumor has it helping it to acquire advanced technology. Acquire in quotes. Callow has an acute photographic memory, even by Solarian standards. This may be linked to his unusual motor responses, though he discourages my speculation. Oh, who's writing this then? I guess it's the AI. Vetronix. The Andromeda Initiative's records on Vetronix are responsible. I know we established this earlier, but I kind of forgot, and I didn't know that it applied to all sections. She states that she is from Palaven, but she also disclosed that she is not recognized as a former citizen of Turian society, never having entered boot camp. It appears she left Palaven at an early age and spent most of her life in the outer reaches of Council space, never settling down in one place. I hit the wrong button. Stop doing that. Vetra was recruited into the initiative by Nak Morkesh, who lists her as a business associate and recommends her on the basis of street smarts, adaptability, and familiarity with most weapons. Vetra's only other recorded family is her sister, Serenix, who accompanied Vetra on the journey to Andromeda on board the Nexus and may or may not be a citizen. I added that. A footnote in Vetra's file indicates that she may have been part of an unnamed mercenary band that was hired to steal sensitive military secrets from a base on Manet. The culprits were never caught. Gil Brody. Technical Officer Gil Brody is a chief engineer aboard the Tempest, and apparently he's supposed to be a zany, wacky, fun character. After traveling to Andromeda aboard the Nexus, records show that Gil was woken from stasis roughly a year ago to assist with the construction efforts before prepping the Tempest itself. There are no records of Gil's early life. He explains he was an undocumented street kid from one of Earth's megapolis cities. Though unschooled, Gil likely showed a remarkable aptitude for mathematics and spatial reasoning, since at 10 he often broke into a local scrapyard to disassemble and repair destroyed shuttle engines. At the time, he was caught and sentenced to a steady job. Also, he built a nuclear bomb when he was 7. Wait, I'm thinking of Fat Man. Gil's mechanical expertise eventually drew him off-world to numerous colonies across the Milky Way. His unconventional work drew the attention of Vetronix, who agreed she was always on the lookout for new contacts. Vetra claims she persuaded Gil to join the initiative. Gil claims he won Vetra's initiative clearance at a poker game and exchanged it for a guaranteed seat along with his friend Jill. He remains an invaluable member of the Tempest crew. And here's Lexi Pataro. Although young by Asari standards, Lexi Pataro is regarded as one of the most skilled doctors in the Andromeda Initiative. Born on the crime-ridden space station Omega, Lexi began a medical career by stitching up her father, a Turian bouncer at the Afterlife nightclub. Her mother was also employed as a dancer. In screening interviews, Lexi states her parents' dream was for her to get off this rock and live a life worth talking about. Following her parents' wishes, Lexi left Omega to continue studying medicine as well as psychology on the Citadel, where she eventually met Harry Carlyle. Carlyle convinced her to join the initiative as Hyperion's physician. Although there was some confusion around assigning an Asari to the human arc, eventually it became apparent that it was because they thought there were people who were like weirdo fetishists for Asari. And I'm starting to think I've already read this in a previous video. Anyway, Lexi's credentials and expertise in anatomy quickly silenced any concerns. Priority missions, Lexi's workaholic, honor off the table. I have a hard time dissecting people, figuratively of course. One of her many goals in Helios is to improve her bedside manner and to learn to appreciate the moment. We've already read about Sarah Ryder and Sam and Alec Ryder. Cora Harper, I'm pretty sure we've read about. Well, no, we wouldn't have read about her yet, so okay, so I don't think we've read about Suvi Anwar, but I think we would have read about everyone else. I'm not sure why we didn't have a new next to her. I might have gone through it by mistake and cycled through my news. So Suvi Anwar is a member of the Nexus science team and holds advanced degrees in astrophysics and molecular biology. In a screening interview, she stated that she was from a large, rather boisterous family of 5 children. Her neuroscientist mother, and mathematician father, was he some kind of fucking accountant? Exposed her and her siblings to science from a young age, which sparked a lifelong love of the subject. While pursuing her PhD in molecular biology, Sophie was handpicked from a team called cutting-edge biophysical and cybernetics researchers, or something. After a year, the team was headhunted by Black Ops organization because the blacks are the Irish of Europe, or no, wait, I got that the other way around. Anyway, for a classified biomedical project, Sylvie was extended an invitation but declined, opting to refocus her attention on other projects. She declares that there was no hesitation on her part in signing up for the Andromeda Initiative once she learned of its existence, owing to a desire to see and experience more of the one small corner of this vast universe. The Initiative, Andromeda Initiative, Golden Worlds. I could have sworn we'd already read this. Anyway, Golden Worlds are worlds that are good to colonize on. I thought we would have read this. Glossary of terms, I'm sure we went through. Did I go through this on a video that got lost? Well, here's the Nexus Uprising. We're pretty sure we did not read about this. Despite Director Tan's reluctance to share them, the Nexus retains records of the so-called Nexus Uprising in the early months of the station's arrival. The damage caused by the Scourge killed members of the senior leadership. New individuals had to step in to fill those roles. However, with hydroponics damaged and no habitable planets available, supplies were stretched to the crisis point. Stent turned to open rebellion against this new leadership. With the Nexus threatened, Krogan war crews were asked to provide military support against the rebels, now led by Head of Security Sloan Kelly, in return for political representation. The Krogan were ultimately successful, and the rebels were exiled from the Nexus. These exiles remain a concern for the Nexus leadership to this day. A majority of the Krogan personnel also left the Nexus soon afterwards. Director Tan has declined to provide details or fill in the gaps in his official record. Already read about her. She died. I think we read about the launch. Militia and Apex. Did we read about this already? Countering hostile species is possible. Cat remain a greater threat than anyone projected. Cat haven't been that bad so far. Yeah, I feel like we've already read all of that, actually. Maybe we haven't read about these Nexus people. In screening interviews, Tyrann Kandros states he is named after an ancestor who captured a dreadnought in the Krogan Rebellion, so was expected to live up to the name. After beginning boot camp at the traditional age of 15, Kandros rose to the ranks and was assigned to Sagrius 8, one of the hierarchy's counterterrorism divisions. Persistent rumors on the Nexus claim that Kandros was sent to investigate the Andromeda Initiative. When the hierarchy became suspicious about its activities, Kandros refused to comment on former operations, citing family pressures as the reason he later joined the initiative. During the early days of Nexus arrival, Kandros left the station to act as protection detail for a prospecting team. Was captured by the Ket. He managed to lead several other captives on escape. Returned to the Nexus, eventually founding a volunteer militia to defend the station. Andromeda Initiative. I'm not going to try to do a Pakistani voice. I'll get myself in so much trouble. But this is that guy I was talking about. Who's Khalil Nanjani, I think his name is, and I've already forgotten his last name. I'm sorry. Andromeda Initiative Director Jeremy Tan is a replacement leader for those who died in the Scourge disaster. Personnel records indicate he was Nexus Deputy Director for Revenue Management when the ARCs departed the Milky Way in 2185. However, upon arrival in the Helios Cluster, the disastrous encounter with the Scourge led to substantial loss of life among senior leadership. The line succession eventually fell to Tan as the next in line for the overall director, much to the apparent consternation of certain Nexus personnel. I'm wondering if the game will actually get into the fact that as revenue director, he was trained only on revenue and doesn't understand the implications of below-line cost on what you actually need to generate in the end, profit. I mean, is there a clever thing going on here where he doesn't understand the cost of the attitude he's shown towards the Krogan and is concerned only with top-line revenue and doesn't see the big picture, which includes profit, which only comes after you've considered cost? Or am I overthinking it? I think I'm overthinking it. Born on Sirkesh, I think the people who decided he was an accountant don't actually know the difference between revenue and profit. Born on Sirkesh, Tan's application to the initiative lists his previous work experience as senior consultant, advanced matrix-based accounting, with hobbies in model starship building and travel someday. Oh, see, he wants to travel the stars, but he can't because he's a nerdy accountant. When queried if he had any prejudice that would affect his ability to serve the initiative, his answer was blank. He didn't say no. However, careful data forensic reveals his original reply was, "Wait, you're letting Krogan come along?" Today, Director Tan has official oversight of initiative operations strategy and effective supervision of Pathfinder teams. And Nexus leadership. Both the base of operations for the Andromeda Initiative, the Nexus leadership was always intended to be split between the initiative proper, station operations, and colonial administration. Jian Garson planned to retain an honorary role, electing the Asari matriarch Nura as initiative director. Unfortunately, both Grecian and matriarch Nura were listed as deceased, along with many of Nura's senior staff. The current director of the initiative, Juran Tan, was 8th in line of succession. Today, Director Tan remains officially in charge of the initiative operations Pathfinder teams. Foster Addison retains her post as Director of Colonial Affairs, managing colonists and outpost deployments. The Nexus itself is administered by Superintendent Nakmor Kesh, who also oversees construction efforts. In the wake of the Ket attacks, Tyrion Kandros emerged as leader of de facto volunteer militia that has taken over state security. Though technically civilian, Kandros is counted among the Nexus leadership. Nakmor Kesh, I don't think we read about, oversee the Nexus initial design and construction phase in the Milky Way. Nakmor Kesh is currently superintendent of the station. She has oversight of the Nexus proper, maintaining systems integrity, integrating any returning arcs, and continuing construction efforts. She is also considered as a senior figure in Clan Nakmor, despite the departure of the majority of the Krogan from the Nexus. Kesh herself describes her role as Fixer-in-Chief. Records of Nexus Uprising show that Kesh played a key role in keeping the station operational during the crisis. Her strong management and knowledge of the station makes her a irreplaceable member of the Nexus leadership, though minutes of official meetings suggest she and Director Jaron Tan are often at odds. Kesh's presence ensures Krogan still have a powerful voice on the Nexus. And Foster Addison, a.k.a. Foster Brooks. Previous to the initiative, Foster Addison was Chief Operations Officer for a provincial capital. She stated in her screening interviews that she preferred the position because it was the highest non-elected municipal officer. It carried responsibilities without requiring a public face. Foster was asked to head colonial affairs early during initiative training. She accepted after being assured that it was temporary. After arrival, outposts would appoint a council, and she could be obscure on a new world. In the meantime, she would remain senior advisor to Jen Garson. Unfortunately, Garson died in the Nexus's initial Scourge impact, to be replaced by Director Tan. During the rebuilding, Colonial Director Addison had no colonial affairs to direct. Addison had no... I read that. That limited the influence she wielded and increased the scrutiny demanded. She has expressed frustration at the open-ended nature of her position and the ongoing need for statements about the status or lack of outposts. Though she remained generally capable, it appears to be exactly the job she didn't want. Pathfinders, AI partners, implants, role of Pathfinder, I suppose we could read about that. I guess AI partners and implants are probably new. Pathfinder is a highly skilled explosive scientist and soldiers, but when Pathfinder partnered with the quantum computing power of an artificial intelligence, they become indispensable. Developed by Alec Ryder, My-Matrix was the pattern of multiple SAM iterations intended to be partnered with Pathfinders, each traveling on their respective arcs. The nature of artificial intelligence means that hosting each SAM iteration on a different hardware causes multiple tiny... Oh, maybe there'll be like a story thread down the road where we come across one of the other arcs and the AI on it went nuts. And the Pathfinder's like insane and controlled by the AI and has killed everyone on the arc. That would be the thing. The nature of artificial intelligence means that hosting each SAM iteration on different hardware causes multiple tiny variations. This results in unique individuals who are similar but fundamentally different to myself. Partnership with Pathfinder allows continued development and increased empathy with organic individuals. Pathfinders go through extensive psychological training before being linked with an AI partner. Allowing full root accesses to an AI without sufficient preparation can result in unexpected and unwelcome side effects. However, those who are prepared and sync fully with their SAM are capable of extraordinary feats. The first Pathfinder neural implants were created by Dr. Ellen Ryder, pioneer in human biotic design. I'm trying to read this fast because I'm actually getting kind of impatient with reading the fucking Codex now. Biotic implants bolster and focus electro-whatever signals along the nervous system. Pathfinders go a step further by connecting to not only the nervous system but circulation, endocrine functions, blah, 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 blah. They put a bunch of implants in you and upgrade your performance, and it's like they decided that what happened to Saren in the original Mass Effect, which was considered pretty fucked up and evil, where implants basically turned him into a meat puppet of the Reapers. And now it's like, but actually, we think it's kind of cool. The implant is a two-way connection, giving me full insight into my host's psychological mental state, while allowing me to generate and alter electrical signals along my host neural pathway, and the body processes its own. In crisis, I can adjust Pathfinder's balance, improve reactions time, or muscle memory, or bolster biotic abilities. Quantum computing allows me to implement changes faster than the synapses can fire. The main challenge with the Pathfinder implants was miniaturizing a QEC device enough to fit in a neural implant. This connection keeps me in constant sync with my host. None of these should be new. I believe we read about all the ARC species. Yeah, I think we've read about all the ARC species. So that's a thing. Well, the Ket, we didn't have a whole lot to go on last time, so that, I think, will be what we'll do in the next video. In the next video, folks, we're going to continue reading all the exciting new Codex entries that have popped up since we finished that last mission. And with a little bit of luck, we'll get through the Codex in the next video and get back to the story, and if not, we won't. But I do intend... I thought about, maybe I'll just do like an extra long video or do nothing but read the Codex, but I think I'll keep these in 30-minute chunks. So we'll read a little bit more Codex next time. I'm MysteriousJG. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you've been enjoying Mass Effect